Good morning and happy Thursday, Revealing Truth Ministries. Microphone sounds good. It's so good to be in the building with the live audience in the Stability Studio. Good morning, live audience. How y'all doing? And those of you that are in the virtual building, you're in the chat. Let us know that you're in the chat. Drop a good morning. Drop a I'm contending. Drop something to let us know that you're there so we can shout you out. We're happy about you being here with us on Thursday. As we do this deeper dive, the deeper dive gives us the opportunity to attend to what God is saying so that we are most blessed people. Pastor Brian is back in the building with us this morning to continue the deeper dive. I still got people giggling from Tuesday.
So, why you had to bring that
I
back?
I just
I was trying my best just to move forward.
I heard the giggles. I heard the.
I was, of course, so which is different, right? So, normally I guess it just happened to happen to Tuesday before there was a worship night. Which, by the way, plug worship night,
Heard. Fire emoji.
night of worship. I
Yeah.
said it backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Night of worship.
Mm-hmm. It was all of that.
There were no words, and at one point it went to no words.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was incredible.
Right.
It was.
Got us already looking forward to the first Wednesday of September.
It was.
You gotta wait that long.
Phenomenal.
May. Oh, I'm sorry.
Like wherever there was, we went through there.
Right.
We were on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely incredible. But the funny part is normally when deeper dives are held, right? I don't, because we don't have midweek services in person,
Right.
except for on the first Wednesday.
Right.
I don't typically see people, right?
Right.
And so,
Oh, wow. Did they let you
but
know?
of course, this is Wednesday, so the deep dive just happened yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, man, I saw the deep dive, man. I was like, you did. What do you mean you saw it?
Right.
I got a lot of laughs. A lot of
Yes.
people looked at me laughing, saying I saw the deeper dive. I said, okay.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good. That's good.
Oh,
It's always good moments.
and it was funny because normally I don't get reactions from deeper dives because you don't
Right.
see people after the deeper dive, but the staff, right? You see the
Right.
staff, but
Mhm.
I think they all know who they around me a lot more, right?
Uh-huh.
And so they weren't probably surprised at all. But I imagine,
Wow. Right.
to some of the people that were looking at me laughing, saying they saw the deeper dive, it was a new experience.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to take from them looking at me laughing, saying I saw the deeper dive.
Wow. Says a lot.
It said nothing really. I was like, so I'm a joke. I didn't know what to take from it. Like
No.
they didn't say it was good. They didn't say like, oh, man. Like they just was like,
watched.
I saw the deeper dive.
Right. That's good.
It was, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it happened.
That's nice. That's good.
But I'm back,
Yes.
which means by approval of the overseer.
Right.
So for whoever was laughing for maybe not positive reasons,
Right.
she saw it.
Yeah. And you're back today.
I'll be honest with you, she didn't mention it. But I did ask her if she wanted me to do it today, and she said yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel as though she was okay with it.
That's all right.
So keep your laughs to
And
yourself.
we here. Ooh. We're moving forward. Let's move forward. I'm gonna have this seat.
Amen.
Amen. So here we are, Thursday. Thursday's deeper dive. And after going back and looking at some notes from Pastor Deborah's message on Sunday and looking at some scriptures that she shared, like it just jumped out to me today that I almost see Paul is outlining to Timothy how to attend to the word he's received, right? And I know that that's a focus of ours, but watching Paul just outline to Timothy, like this is how you attend to all that you've seen, all that you've heard, and it resonated with me, and I think that it'll connect with those who are watching as well.
Yeah, no, I think one of the moments coming into the message and coming into God's using it, and especially looking at Second Timothy as a backdrop for that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times there's things that that's what we're saying. The message was long. There was still more. There was more,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that really spoke loudly to me is just how Paul was mentioning a godly heritage,
Right.
and how he really was calling on Timothy to think about what was witnessed and what was passed on,
Mm-hmm.
and how important and how vital it is as believers that we lean on that,
Right.
that we don't forget those who have paved the way, those who have come before us, and really think about what was their reputation with God.
Yeah.
What was their life with God, and what did it look like?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it just brought back Joshua 1:5, right? Just
Right.
brought it back,
Mm-hmm.
and to me, which I think is one of the most just like I'm gonna say it like this, like just like almost like a Godfather moment, right?
Right.
Like in my
Right.
head, I'm very visual, right?
Any
So
Godfather fans?
any Godfather fans,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Any Godfather
One of my
fans, right?
favorite movies.
And
Right.
one,
It is.
it is.
Yeah.
That's
It's a great
impressive,
movie,
Pastor
man.
Mark.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
You do look like a Godfather fan. Like you would
Yeah.
enjoy sitting down,
The whole
and
3 hours.
just like having loads of pasta on the table, just looking at your seed, and just
I haven't taken it that far yet, but I do love. I like.
yeah, that's
Hey,
part of the.
Give me a running a marathon.
You gotta have a
Block
red
1, 2, and
tablecloth,
3.
right? Red or white,
Right.
depending on how the night's gonna end.
Mm-hmm.
It's a message. It's a message. You've ever sit down with somebody? Restaurants use white tablecloths. If you sit down in a restaurant and has a red one,
It's not
wrong
a good
table.
night. It's not a good
Wrong
night.
table. But anyway,
Good night.
and
But even
that same-
before you go there to Joshua,
Yeah.
how Joshua connects, just to even open up more about how in this moment how Paul is really making that point of Timothy guarding the things that he knows. I can even hear him now here when he says, "Follow me as I follow Christ." Right? It was more like, "Follow my example." This is the example that's set before you. You've witnessed my walk. You've witnessed how God has interacted with me in ministry. Like that's the example for you to attend to.
Yeah, and so much of, like I say, I see things, have a lot of imagination. I see a lot of things visually, and I see that as like that moment to where they're sitting down, and it's just kind of like, hey, let me tell you some things that you're going to need to know. Let me give you the run of how things are going to work, and he's just giving him these keys
Yeah.
to life with God. And one of the keys is not to forget that your God has a reputation. And you have now been engrafted into a long line of people who have lived with him and that he's lived through.
Right.
And there's certain things that you just don't have to fear, certain things you don't have to worry about. You may get to moments where the outside and what you see may be very different than what you imagine it would be, but don't lose hope, don't cave in, don't quit. This is just a part of our heritage, right? It's a part of who we are. And I see that, right? And I can see Paul, right? And I saw that moment where, of course, we're reading Paul's words to Timothy, but really it's a long line of how God's been talking to his people.
That's
you
good.
know, and one of the first places that I saw that type of verbiage, that type of talk was in Joshua, right? Joshua 1:5, when Joshua was then preceding Moses, right? And God's words to Joshua were very simple. He says, "As I was with Moses, I'll be with you."
Right.
And that to me, that's just very Godfatherish, right? Just where someone's wondering, like, how's life gonna be? What can I expect?
Right.
What are my expectations? What is life gonna be like? He's like, listen, as God was with Moses, he's gonna be with you.
Yeah.
Which to me means that he had to observe him. That he had to watch. He had to be. It also means that God must have had a good reputation. Because if your words are, you're going to be with me as you were with him,
Right.
then that means that who you were was something that I can seek trust in, that I can have confidence in.
Yeah.
But it's very much so like a heritage passes down from one generation to the next, from one leader to the next. And how to me, it's just, that's like the ultimate words, right? You know, it's almost like, to me, you know, you're saying, well, hey, Pastor Brian, how's your turkey? And I'm like, don't ask me, ask Gamage, right? That's very confident. That's a lot of confidence being exuded that I don't feel it necessary to have to explain it, because I have witnesses of how good it is. And that to me speaks more of even how good it really is. And I see that in both of those moments, to where he's like, hey, Joshua's like, man, I'm stepping into this. What should be my thoughts? Hey, as I was with Moses, I'll be with you. You saw how well I was there, how well I guided, how well I protected, how well I provided. What more can be said, right? And then you see Paul, right, telling Timothy, hey, you saw how God was with me, and you saw how he rescued me from it all. What more can be said, right? And I feel like that's our same moment, like where we're sitting there knowing that we are a part of a godly heritage. And sometimes when we're wondering about what to do, where to go, it's like you just need to reflect back and think, hey, as God was with Paul, as he was with Timothy, as he was with Joshua, as he was with Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all of them, right? He's going to be with me, right? And I have a godly heritage, right?
Right.
And
which also speaks to the value of paying attention.
Yeah.
Like if Joshua wasn't paying attention,
yeah,
then that wouldn't have moved.
which were the same words, right? You know, Paul literally told Timothy, you saw it,
Right.
you witnessed. What did you see? And I always think back, when I hear those types of words, I just can hear my father screaming at me, right? A person with experience is never at the mercy of the person with an argument, right? Once you've experienced a thing and once you've seen a thing, like you can't be talked out of what your hands have touched. And you shouldn't be able to, right? You shouldn't be unconvinced of things that you witnessed that convicted you. And so much of that is a part of how we move forward as believers, how we, in situations where we can't see how this is going to come together, how that's going to come together, we have to remind ourselves, what has been your experience? Have you ever been lost before? Yes. Were you rescued from your lost state? Yes. Then keep remembering that. You have personal testimonies where you have been confused before, but you found wisdom. Where you thought it was the end of the journey, but you found more hope. Where you thought this was, I don't even know how many times I tell, there's probably a couple times in my life where I seriously thought, like, this is it. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
Rashida's, I can't remember what, she's laughing because, you know, I tell it like that. Like, Rashida, I really thought that was it for me. You know, and it's amazing how in that moment, I really thought that was it.
Right.
You know, and man, this is decades later, years later, and it's like, it's amazing how we can put so much into a moment. But I hear all of those words speaking to, no, don't get so wrapped up in the moment that you forget that you're a part of a whole story that God is telling. That you have a whole history, even yourself, about how he's operating in your life. And we just Satan just tries to pigeonhole us, you know, to think that, man, that the next decision is going to change everything concerning anything that your life is going to amount to. And it's like, how?
Right.
You know, when you've witnessed so many people who have made horrible decisions but recovered. Right. But it's like, I've seen people who have spent time in prison. Got out of prison, and if you looked at them today, you would never know that they spent any time in prison. You can look at their family, you can look at their businesses, you can look at how they talk, how they walk. And I'm just simply saying, I can guarantee you the day they got the sentence, they felt as though like life is over. But here they are. They served their time. They've been reacclimated. Now they have their own business. Their family's back together. Their finances are good. Like, you would have been like, man, you better off now, right, than you were before. And we have these stories. We see these accounts. And we have to let them have influence on our minds. We have to let them have influence on, really, the character of God, right? I'm gonna stop because
so with that though,
Yeah.
so we observe these things, we live through these experiences, but then it's important for us to anchor those experiences with promises that we
Yeah.
find in His
And,
written word.
yeah, and one thing that we say a lot is, what are we looking for? The character.
Yes.
We know God can do something a million different ways, and so it's not that we are trying to prescribe ourselves to a way. God can choose however He wants to do whatever He wants to do, but the fact of the matter is, it's His character that is being lived out, and so we want to reflect and see His character. Look back over your life and see how God has been, and project that in your future.
Right.
Because the same God back then is the same God gonna be up here in this future. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. And so when we look back over what was witnessed and we look back over what we've lived, we know that we're different ages, we have different scenarios, we have different things that are going on, but you have the same God. Right. And so if He was faithful then,
Boom.
He's still faithful today. Right. And so we reflect back and pull out the character, who He is. He's trustworthy. He's a promise keeper. Right. He's gracious. He's forgiving. Right. He's loving. Right. And so you take all of that and project that on what you think your problem is, and see, won't you just recognize that, oh no, this is just another story that's going to be told, because if I witnessed it before, He doesn't change. Now, what it's being applied to may change, but all I need to do is project what I've already seen about Him on what I see in front of me. And man, like, it just, we did that in our Fearless series, right?
Right.
Because we talked about the fact that most problems is not, you don't have big problems, you just have a small view of God. Right. Fear isn't in the size of the problem, it's in the amount of God you can see today. Right. The more God I can see, it don't matter what the problem is. Right. It's most people, their worry and their concern comes from having a small understanding of who God is and having a bigger understanding of what their problem is. But you got to have a bigger understanding of who God is than your problem ever is. But God will never take you nowhere where He ain't already given you the goods. You just have to make a decision that I'm gonna go ahead and stand firm on what I've seen Him be over time. I'm not going to allow any situation to try to pull me into a new category of thinking. Right. And I'll break that down. But a new category of thinking is we always try to make everything seem new.
Right.
Like, no, this is different.
Right.
I'm trying to tell you, this is different. Right. No. This is not anything different. And a lot of times you gotta normalize your problem, right? You gotta contain that thing, unless it'll grow and try to become something greater than what it is, try to become something bigger than what it is. It'll try to make you
defining it as different is your way of trying to get it out of, like, it's out of God's realm, of God's word. You know what I'm saying?
The more, and I'm going to say it this way, and I'm saying how I want to say it. The more Satan can convince you that what you're currently facing is different than what you faced before, the more unfamiliar you'll feel. The more unfamiliar you'll feel, the less faith you'll walk in, because you'll feel like you're unqualified. You'll feel like you just will feel unequipped. But how do I feel unequipped? I feel unequipped when I feel like I'm walking towards something I've never experienced before. How do I get there? Is by allowing myself. That's your choice. Your choice is the choice of saying that this is different, when the Bible literally tells you that there is nothing new under the sun, and no one's facing anything that someone else hasn't already overcome. So if I'm trusting in the word, then it's the Bible is literally, you say, Paul, this ain't nothing different. Like, you ain't faced nothing Jesus ain't already overcome. But we continue, and Satan keeps wanting us to make everything even feel like a little different, right? And we'll do it down to, like, No, man. Last time they said it with compassion. This time they said it with vigor, right? We'll try to make little nuances to try to make this time so special and unique, right? But when you're doing that, you're actually working against your proven witness of what you can trust, which is my God is faithful. So I say, no, you got to normalize your problem. You got to dilute them. Like you got to make them seem as simple as repetitive, right? You know, man, you got just this ain't nothing new.
Right.
Like sometimes you just gotta look at your problem. Just first thing out your mouth, say this ain't nothing new. Been here, done this. Been here, done this. Like I already got the goods to overcome this. Like so much so that I'm not even paying attention to it. You know, once again, right here, my dad screaming at you. How you see the problem is the problem.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. It's how you seeing it. How you see the problem can make a problem.
Yeah.
It is the problem.
Right.
Right?
That's good. Yeah, and in what you're saying, I'm hearing attend, but not just like pay attention to it, but attend could also be like adding force to what you've seen, what you've witnessed. So allow that to apply pressure to what you see as the challenge or the problem.
Yeah. How about you reverse it, right? Instead of trying to make it different, try to make it fit what you've already overcome.
That's good.
How is this the same as something that I've already overcome? It may be a different person. It may be a different city. It may be a different that. But what can you find that connects it to a previous victory you've already had?
That's good.
Man, you'll be amazed at how immediately your confidence, your trust, your faith, I'm thinking the songs now, same God back then, same God right now, right? If he did it before, he'll do it again, right? All those things are so fulfilling and so building because it's speaking of how God's consistency of his character.
Right.
Well, what will try to work, and I keep going out trouble, but I have to, but what will work against even singing a song like that, losing its power in your current battle, is trying to get your current battle look different than the previous one.
Right.
And so you got to it's almost like feeling like, I'm a big process person, and although in school every test was different, as long as I applied my same process of study, I could expect consistent results, although the questions were different.
Right.
Questions were different.
The approach is the same.
But the approach was the same. And so as long as I apply the same approach, it didn't matter that the questions was different. I had the expectation of still succeeding.
Yeah.
And you didn't get the privilege of going in on test day and knowing what the question was going to be.
Right.
But you could go in feeling confident as long as you applied the same process in which you were victorious in before. Apply that to your life, right?
Exactly. And that's so encouraging because the way that these examples are given to us through the Bible, like I think that God gives us the most extreme situations as the example. When Joshua is looking at what Moses had to go through and how God was faithful with Moses, Joshua didn't face anything that Moses faced in comparison. Joshua, he stood in front of the Jordan, but it wasn't the Red Sea, right? And it wasn't with Pharaoh's army behind him, right? And the same thing with Timothy. Timothy didn't face what Paul had to face. But these extremes just make my box bigger. Like if God can do this, then he can do what I'm doing.
We got a cloud of witnesses, right?
Absolutely.
Testify.
Yeah.
Right? And that's absolutely it. And that is, right? Of course I'm thinking about Pastor Deborah's title, but you remember.
Right.
But you reflect.
That's good.
But you, right? Because there's a world full of people that
that's good.
They like to make things different because they're good conversation topics. Right? That's like that's just makes it good for makes for good conversation.
Right.
But it makes for horrible faith building, right?
Yeah.
It's like, if I came back, if the only context from which we talk is we talking about the problems we got, then I got to make my problem sound different every time I talk about it.
Right.
And so sometimes people are just doing it for conversation's sake, right? Let me find a little nuance so that you can listen so I can talk to you. Well, can we
Good.
talk about food?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Can we talk about something other than problems? Like, because it's creating in you the habit of trying to make every problem new. You know, and it's like, no, but did you hear what he said something different to me last time? And it's like, no, he's still the same scripture apply. It doesn't matter that he, you know, I'm just always thinking, because that's most of the places where people want to give constant updates is in relationship drama.
Right.
Like, it's like, we doing good, and then tomorrow morning you should have seen the way that she did X,
Right.
Y, and Z. And it's
Right.
like, it's my same. Sometimes I've had God in moments where I'm speaking with somebody, right? And literally, you know, I would say, hey, we're going to talk about what it is you came here to talk about. But leave out the details, because it's not going to change the truth.
Exactly. Right.
And I do it intentionally sometimes, because I want them to know that the truth, to get to the truth, it didn't need the details.
Right.
Because the truth is the truth. It's not going to change.
Right.
But what it does is it actually makes sure that if something changes the next time, they didn't pigeonhole the truth.
Right.
And a lot of times people pigeonhole the truth because they figure you gave it based on the details of the situation.
Right.
No, I gave you a promise that supersedes your details.
Right.
like it superseded it.
Right.
And so, but when we get into all this, and really, it's people just want to be entertained.
You got Pastor Gamish sitting behind you, and I'm imagining the number of counseling sessions that you know he's been in, and I know I've been in some where they're sharing the problem, but it's like the same solution I gave you yesterday. Like, apply it again and again and again. The answer doesn't change.
I have literally said, you know, sometimes, hey, I want you to realize something. You ain't tell me nobody's name. You ain't tell me none of these details. And I don't want you to think that you had to. Because what I share with you is the truth.
Right. That's good.
But understand what you've just been empowered with. You've been empowered with the ability to apply this truth even when the nuances change.
That's good.
And it's...
Tell somebody in the chat, the problem don't matter. Problem don't matter.
Yeah.
We have the truth.
Yeah. What matters is your view of God and his character.
Right.
Right. That supersedes any of those problems that happen. And I get it, man. We all like it's, and I hope I'm saying this the way it's supposed to be said, but a lot of times we like to talk about the nuances because it's good for conversations. I'm just saying that's not good for your faith.
Yeah.
Because it's literally is trying to make it seem like what you already know can't fit because of that nuance being different.
Right.
And it doesn't matter. It's almost like, hey man, like, you know, I'm just trying to think of some different things, but it's like, hey, my light bill's past due. And then you go get counsel, or you ask God what to do, and he tells you what to do concerning it. And then you be like, man, my water bill's past due. Honestly, boss, you already got the answer.
Right.
Like, because what God shared wasn't dependent upon it being your light bill, your water bill, or your mortgage. What he shared with you was principles and truth that you apply in situations when you don't got the money.
Right. That's good.
And that fits for every situation. You don't got the money.
Right.
But for entertainment purposes, when we like to talk to people, like, man, girl, it's the light bill. The next month, because you just ain't got nothing better to talk about, it's my water bill. The next month, because you ain't got nothing better to talk about, now you and it's like, it's good for conversation, but this is not how it works.
Right.
Like, guys, like, same answer. Same answer. Same answer. It's the same answer. Like, my word's the same yesterday, today, and forever. That's the point. It's about consistency. It's about the fact that you can trust it because it doesn't change.
Right. That's good. That's good news. Give God some praise for that. That's good news, folks. It's good news. And that's Paul's message to Timothy. Like, the same God that helped me through is here to help you through as well. Yeah. It's part of our heritage. We just tell the same message today. Awesome. Amazing. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. The weekend is coming.
Yeah.
We look forward to seeing you in the building. I'm smiling because as much excitement as there is about Sunday, we have a special event planned for Saturday. Yeah.
Talk about it.
All of RTM Nation.
Let's talk about it.
And in St. Pete and South St. Pete, we'll be at the campus of North Star Academy to celebrate the restart of our St. Pete
Let's
campus.
go.
4 p.m. to 6 p.m. We have smooth beverages will be on the vicinity. Yes. So we have smoothies, bounce house, fun food. Bring your family. Celebrate with us the restart of our St. Pete campus on Saturday, and then we can get here and talk about it in the foyer on Sunday. So till then.
That was nice.
Yeah. Till then, we'll see you soon. Know that as we continue to attend to the things that God has said, we are most blessed.
You're my XOXO. You're my XOXO. Falling in love with you, growing in love with you. You're my XOXO. You're my XOXO. You're my XOXO. Falling in love with you, growing in love with you. XOXO. Sitting here wondering where and how to begin. Do a start with love and grace, and how you are my closest friend. It'll take a million years just to tell of all you've done. So I'm writing this song just to sing love to your heart. Let me count the ways that I love you. From the start to end, you always true.